time
What are you singing?
that we will be out. Every time if this will be out.
Aw, that's so cute. Olivia, Daddy's going to do the beep test this morning.
What?
Yeah, I know. That's how I feel about it too. Daddy's got to do the beep test.
Today?
Oh, yeah. Is that funny?
Not going to the work.
I am going to the work as well.
You can go first.
Where are you now?
At school.
At school. School! At
I love
school.
you.
You love me? Oh, this is the cutest thing. I love you too, my sweet schnookums.
I love you all the days.
You do? Did you know Daddy's the most luckiest daddy in the whole world?
Yeah, but I won't need to get out.
Okay, all right. Okay, we have arrived at the venue. This place is the absolute business. This is where I come and run on the track sometimes. Haven't done it for a few months though. And I love this place because it's always packed full of people just walking and running and just getting after it. Pause, pause, pause. I have got a story for you. I've just been watching this video back and editing it, and I remembered that my friend said to me, Andy, I like your glasses. You look like a serial killer from the 70s. How are you supposed to react to that kind of information? This place is like, it's a facility, but you can come and use the track for free as long as it's not being used. People are just coming to get their daily steps here, and I absolutely love the vibe of people just fucking coming to get after it. I absolutely love it. I'm gonna do this beat test, which is a 20-meter shuttle run. You have to run within a certain beep target. So I'm going to listen to something on Spotify that's going to do the beeps for me, and the beeps get closer together. So as you get further into this exercise, you have to run faster. And I haven't done it since school, secondary school or high school, so I'm a bit nervous about it. I was the kid that would show up with a letter from their mum saying, Andrew's not going to do PE today. He's not feeling very well, got a bit of a dicky tummy. Obviously a lot has changed since then, and now I'm like obsessed about training and stuff, which is funny. I think a lot of people find the same route. They skip it at school and then they find it later in life. That's definitely me. So I am going to try and get after it. I was hoping that the floor would be a bit more grippy than this. This, like AstroTurf, it's not fully grippy. It's a little wet from the mildew, but it's a bloody lovely day for it, let me tell you. Right, I'm going to get set up and I'll show you a neat trick to do with your laces. Just watch. Right, I'm going to be absolutely slip sliding all over the place maybe. I'm going to start from this yellow line here, and I'm hoping that I don't run out of space on my camera. I've only got a 64GB camera phone, so that's 5 meters. Lifting shoe to lifting shoe. That's 20 meters apparently. 5, 10, 15, 20. I've heard the beeps on Spotify already, and they sound closer together than I'd like. Okay, so this trick, my friend Alana taught me this, and it's basically when you double knot your shoes, instead of doing a double knot on the bow, you go here and you go around twice and then pull it through. And then when you're done, all you have to do is pull this and it's just going to come undone, as if it was just a single knot.
Start level 1, 1. Level 1, 2.
Okay, so I'm going to provide some commentary now while you watch me running backwards and forwards. I'm going to skip through quite a lot of this because it's honestly pretty boring. I just keep going backwards and forwards. So I just wanted to give you a bit of an insight. I've been doing this mentorship with Eugene Teo. I've been learning a lot about programming, specifically conditioning. I'll be going on to some training programming soon. And one of the things that I've learned is that you're predominantly using your anaerobic energy system when you are training, when you're lifting weights during the set. So when you unrack the bar and you're lifting weights, During that set, you're using your anaerobic energy system. So that just means your body is having to generate energy without the presence of oxygen. It's a much faster process to generate energy, but it's much more fatiguing, which is why you can go for a set of 10, or you can go for a sprint of 10 seconds, and then after that, you start to really slow down. Whereas the aerobic energy system is much slower to produce the energy, but you can keep going for a long period of time. Hence, endurance athletes, they're not able to go quite as fast as sprinters, but they're able to sustain a pace for a very long time. Now, in the gym, you're using your anaerobic energy system during your set, but when you put the bar down or you re-rack your weights, you're using your aerobic system to clear out the waste products and get yourself primed and ready to hit your next set with a good amount of intensity. The same goes when you go home from the gym and you go on with your daily movements. You're predominantly using your aerobic system for your daily activities and recovery as well. So in order to really maximize your training and maximize your rest period between sets, if you've got a better cardiovascular system, your aerobic system is improved, then you are going to be able to train to a better intensity because your rests are going to be so much more impactful. Instead of being out of breath for 2 minutes, you'll be out of breath and bring that heart rate down in 1 minute. And then you've got 2 minutes of solid rest. Not only that, but your aerobic system would have cleared out a lot of the waste products that would have hindered you in your next set had you not had a better cardiovascular. Cardiovascular and aerobic system I'm kind of using interchangeably. Now the reason I'm doing this beep test is homework for the conditioning module. And another thing that I've learned is when you train, not only do you get positive adaptations in terms of like blood pressure, mental health, when you do cardio, you get something called left ventricular hypertrophy, which is where your heart basically increases in size and gets stronger. And there's two different types of hypertrophy of the heart. There is eccentric hypertrophy, which is where the left ventricle expands so it can fill with more blood, and that adaptation is a result of lower intensity cardiovascular training. So you're thinking like zone 2 conversational pace, which is why it's so important to do that style of training. You're looking at 30 to 45 minutes of very low intensity training, maybe just an incline walk on a treadmill or even a very light jog, and you're going to get really good benefits from that. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got concentric hypertrophy, which is basically where the walls of the heart thicken and get stronger so they can beat harder and stronger and pump more blood around the body with each stroke. And that adaptation is a result of higher intensity training. We're talking zone 4 and zone 5, getting very out of breath and really pushing yourself to the limits. Thinking very uncomfortable training zones. Anyway, I hope you don't mind me nerding out on that a little bit. Going to finish up here with the beep test, and we're going to be moving on to some upper body training. Hope you're enjoying watching me suffer.
Level 9, 10. Level 9, 11. Start level 10, 1.
I'm gonna be sick. Ooh, fuck. Oh shit. That was fucking lame miz, mate. Okay, I'm alright. Yoink. Straight off, mate. I got 9 rounds and then just fucking gave up because I was like, just get to the end, because I was dying. Legs were completely full of whatever it's full of. Yeah, they were completely swole and heavy by that point. So I was like, just couldn't breathe. I was like, just get to the end of 9. And there was no way I could have made it through 10. Maybe I could have got 1. Maybe I pushed it out. Excuse me, but happy with that actually. Back to the car. Workout done. Conditioning done. Thank you and good night. I was absolutely fries and Manelli after the conditioning. On my drive to the gym, started to feel amazing. And it just goes to show that, you know, doing some conditioning, you kind of get that runner's high, or I don't know if you get it with other types of conditioning, but definitely it reminds me of when I used to run a lot. And it's just a good reminder that things like conditioning is great for mental health as well as physical health. And I need to do more of that, because the drive to the gym, I started to feel really good. and was listening to some tunes, singing along, and then I had a great workout, surprised at my performance. So managed to get the clips, so here we go. Okay, this part of the video was actually recorded over a week later than the rest of the video, and that's because I actually had a baby and I haven't had a chance to come back to this video to edit it. This video should have been out by now, but here I am getting it finished so you can watch me suffer on the beep test and watch my training. So the baby is behind me and is asleep, so hopefully she doesn't wake up while I'm recording this. Maybe you'll see the top of her head or her bottle over there. I'm going to make another video where I go over what I'm going to do with my own training during this period of looking after a newborn baby, because I've still got a lot of work to do. So I'm going to, change up my training program a little bit and change up my nutrition strategy right now while I'm looking after a baby. So make sure you're subscribed just in case you can get some value from that if you are in a similar situation in the future, or if you have a circumstance where you are not able to prioritize training and nutrition, which is kind of the state that I'm in. And I do want to keep up with some kind of training because it's very important to me. And it's good for health, of course. So what I want to do now is talk through my training, and so let's dive in. So I couldn't figure out how to get this to work on the computer, so I'm going to be looking at my computer while talking to you. Okay, so here we go. I'm getting strapped in to a cable chest press. This has been a really good exercise actually for the pecs. I've been really feeling it, especially as I get towards the end of each set. What you're seeing here is one of the warm-up sets. So generally when I do an exercise, I'll do a couple of warm-up sets and then I'll jump straight into my working set. And something I've been doing more recently is only doing 1 to 2 actual working sets. And it's because my friends and I have been following a specific program where that's just the format that whoever programs it likes to run. So instead of doing 3 sets of leaving 1 to 3 reps in the tank in each set, and each set is a working set, you do a couple warm-up sets and then you hit 1 to 2 working sets where you're going actually all the way to failure. So that's kind of what we've been playing around with. I've had some really good development in my upper body, but my lower body isn't growing as fast for sure, but I'd say my lower body is much more developed than my upper body at this point, probably because of years worth of doing CrossFit and weightlifting. So this is my second warm-up set. And you'll see in the next set, which is actually my working set, that the hard part about this is keeping the bench on the ground, which is why that 45-pound plate is kind of tucked up against my toes there. But one thing I'm really trying to do with this exercise that I found really helpful is I'm really trying to get my upper arm squeezed as close to my upper body as possible. And that is really going to make sure the pec is going through a full range of motion at the top end, and that really creates a lot of stimulus, I feel. So you can see the bench is kind of hovering off the floor right now, and I'm having a real struggle to kind of straighten my arms, really trying to focus on pushing my elbows together at the end of the movement here, and really trying to go all the way to failure, where I can't do any more safely is kind of where I'm trying to get to. That's kind of about my limit, surely. Not going for another one. Okay, good. And then after that, I'm moving on. Sorry about the camera angle, but I'm moving on here to dumbbell row for the upper back. So I'm keeping the elbows out, and the focus here is pulling the shoulder blades together and then a good stretch at the bottom. So I'm letting my shoulders kind of round forward at the bottom, and then I'm pulling my shoulder blades back at the top, and that's really going to focus on the mid to lower traps, the rhomboids, and some rear delts as well. So really good for the upper back, as opposed to the lats, which you would keep the elbows in a little closer. So what you just saw there was my working set. I didn't record my warm-up sets, but you saw a working set, and now I'm actually getting into a drop set. So I dropped the weight down a little bit, and I'm doing a higher repetition set to failure. I hear some noises over there. So you can see I'm really starting to struggle. I find with these kind of exercises, the hardest part is as you get to the top of the movement. Okay, now this machine is again, it's difficult to stay in place. I find that's kind of the hardest thing. But this is a dip machine, so it's like doing a body weight dip, but instead you're strapped into a machine. So it's great if you don't have the ability to do your own body weight for dips, because you can use less than your body weight. But I think I worked up to like 250 pounds on this thing, so then it's really difficult to stay in your seat because you're actually using more weight than your body weight. So you kind of, it wants to push you out of the seat there, which is why I'm kind of clamped in with those knee pads, and I'm actually using my toes to hold me in place there. But I like this exercise, feel it in a lot of my triceps, feel it a little bit in my chest too. But although it's quite awkward, I do quite enjoy this one. Again, going all the way to failure. Just one working set on these. So you saw there previously a warm-up set, and then this is my last working set. And then this is my last exercise. I've got 2 working sets here on the bicep curl, I believe. This is working with tempo. So we're working with, I think, 3 seconds down, 2-second pause at the top, and it burns. It really burns. When you get to the bottom, you feel a real big stretch through the bicep, and this has been really good actually for building the arms. I really like this exercise. It's a really good alternative to using dumbbells. From using dumbbells and barbells for so many years, it's a lot of fun using machines, and it's so much easier to just take the pin out and stick it in, as opposed to, you know, keep changing the weights and changing the dumbbells. It's so nice. But both sets here going all the way to failure, which sucks, by the way. It's horrible going all the way to failure, but man's got to do what man's got to do. Do you know what I mean? Okay, last set, and then we're done here. Someone was waiting to use the machine. What I see here is, as well, as I initiate from the bottom back up, I noticed that my shoulders are kind of rolling forwards a little bit, so I could probably do a slightly better job of trying to keep my shoulders pinned back a little. And that's the beauty of using a camera to record your sets. It can really be beneficial to see your technique and to critique yourself. So that's a really important thing to do, I find. And I actually really hate filming myself, especially I'm a relatively new member to this gym, and I've gone from working out in a CrossFit gym, a CrossFit weightlifting gym, to a regular bodybuilding style gym, which is like semi-serious, like so many people in amazing shape here. It's relatively intimidating to go wandering around here, to be honest, and it's been years since I've used a lot of these machines. So refamiliarizing myself with these machines, I kind of feel a bit awkward, and I can kind of really empathize with someone that's new to training, to going into a gym and start training and get used to things like this when they've never done it before. I can really empathize with that situation. It is quite intimidating. And there I am. I want to record things because I want to show you how I do my training and to show you what I'm looking for on certain movements and such, but I don't want to be like seen as the influencer, you know what I mean? Like, people might look over and think, oh, who's that guy think he is? I think mostly it's all up here. It's all in my own head that I'm getting in, and I'm sure people don't care. And one thing that my mentor told me was, you know, you're just going to get used to that. People generally won't care, and if they do ever say anything, they'll probably see you online helping people and think, well, actually that's helpful. And so I've got to remember that hopefully the content that I put out is helpful to people, and I get mostly good feedback for the content that I put out on YouTube and Instagram. So anyway, there you have it. Hope you find this video helpful and you enjoyed watching me suffer on the beat test. And next video, or in the next few videos, I'm going to go over what my plan is for my own training now that I have a newborn and that I'm having to prioritize my work, my current clients, and my family, really. So I'm putting everything on maintenance mode with my training, and so what's that going to look like? I need to figure that out. When I have done, I'm going to record a video on that. So make sure you're subscribed. If you don't already, follow me on Instagram. I'm pretty active there, post most days. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you're still here, I really appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one.